run into them, but that's the tough part about being around college campus on a day like this. Everybody is wandering around, but nobody is paying attention.
Ready? I'll tell you something.
Okay.
Hi, Karen. Y'all have to go out officially.
I can't.
Or what they say.
Look forward to seeing
All right.
everything.
All right. Good evening, everyone. We call the meeting to order for Apex regular town council meeting Tuesday, August 25th, 2026. Welcome to those who joined us by live stream via YouTube. We'll transition right into the invocation. I have a diversity statement. The town of Apex values and celebrates diversity and inclusion. We see diversity as a strength that binds our community together, inviting members from different faith communities to deliver the invocation at the beginning of our council meetings supports this unity. Recognizing that not everyone practices the same traditions, we welcome you to have a private moment of silence or reflection. We have this evening, the invocation is going to be provided by Hindu Swami Sevak Singh. Is that close enough? Sabit? Okay, all right, thank you for that correction. All right, we'll have you to come on up and provide a presentation for us. You have the mic.
Honorable Mayor Sir, members of Town Council and Apex residents, good evening and namaste everyone. On behalf of Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh, also known as HSS, we are honored to be here to celebrate and observe the festival of Raksha Bandhan with you all. We also call it the Bond of Protection and Universal Oneness Day. As part of this tradition, we will tie a bracelet, also known as a Rakhi, on your right wrist as a symbol of goodwill, protection, and mutual respect. And we also offer our best wishes for your well-being, happiness, and continued success. We also want to say thank you for your leadership and service to the town of Apex in fostering a safe, vibrant, and welcoming community for all residents. Thanks for having us here, and happy Raksha Bandhan to all. So I would request all our volunteers to please come and tie the Rakhis. That's okay.
Meeting him out front? Yes, yeah, we're going to go out front.
If any resident wants to join us, please come forward and just tie the bracelet. Thank you.
Can you please look at me? Thank you. Adya.
Go stand.
Do you want to give me a picture?
Okay.
Yep.
Yes,
Two rows.
no, I think this, if you guys could just slide in just a little bit more, just feels like it's very like bunched up right here and a little bit less right there. But... There you go. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Make them
Thank you so much.
All right, we'll go ahead and move now into the pledge. We're going to call up Achentia, Scouting America Troop 205, who's going to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. If you would, please stand.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. All right, we're moving now into announcements and petitions by governing body. We'll start with the Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you, Mayor. I had two quick things I wanted to mention to the board. If you recall, I was appointed to the NCLM, the North Carolina League of Municipalities Policy Committee. We met for the first time today. We're going to have a process over the next couple months where we have meetings around the state, collecting feedback from various municipalities to develop a legislative agenda for the league. And I don't quite have the dates and times on me now, but there should be a meeting or at least a virtual option for any member of the town to participate in to help build that agenda. And they're looking at adoption probably around December or January in time for the next session. So that's in progress. And another small note, if you guys recall, I'm the delegate on the board of delegates for Central Pines. And I was also asked to serve on Triangle Bikeway Policy Forum as a Central Pines representative. So that'll be fun. Sorry it's not you, but I think it had to be a board delegate.
I'll
so,
work through you.
Yes, I will try to represent you well. So that's all. Thank you, Mayor.
All right, thank you so much. Councilmember Gray.
Well, I'll start off by saying thank you to Mayor Pro Tem Mahaffey for taking yet another meeting off my shoulders. Appreciate that. I do want to say thank you, and just one note I want to make. I want to say thank you to Apex Police Department, particularly because schools are now back fully in swing, except for I think Track 4, which I think starts in about 3 more weeks. But schools are back in session. Kids are out walking. Kids are driving around. Kids are in the street. Kids are doing what kids do. And it's something that, our speeds need to decrease in order to maintain safety. And I want to give a special thank you to those at Apex PD because we've seen the presence. It's been something that's important to do, especially at this time of the year. And I would ask all those who are residents who work and play here, just keep in mind that, things are going to be a little crazy for the next month or so. We're going to have a lot of additional smaller, sometimes harder to see objects out there on the road. Let's give each other grace. Let's take the speeds down. Let's remember we've got our future out there and make sure that we're taking care of them. So thanks to APD for the additional focus, and I'll ask for all my fellow residents to take that focus on as well. That's all I have.
Thank you, Councilman. All right, Councilmember Zegerman.
Nothing for tonight, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. All right, thank you. Councilmember Moo.
I'd like to introduce this lovely young lady just next to me, Advita. She's from Green Level High, and she's shadowing me. I'm always so happy to see our young generation interested in public service and our town business. Thank you. Welcome. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, thank you, Councilmember Moo. Councilmember Reese.
Yes, thank you. I was going to echo some of the comments from Councilmember Gray. Just welcome all the students on traditional calendar back, and as well as the teachers. Thank you for all you do. And the point I wanted to make was that we have some new crosswalks, and some of them are near schools. And so please ensure that you're doing your best to be as patient as you can as students scurry around the campuses. The second thing I wanted to say was just we know utility costs are incredible. That is a national issue. Heat Map News published a report that found that nationally, your average residential electricity bill was 71% higher in the month of July than it was in April. 71% higher in July than it was in April. This is a national issue. And so sometimes we feel like we're, dealing with it locally, and we absolutely are. But sometimes these are also happening on the macro. So thank you again for your patience. And ideally, those bills will come down over the next couple of months. Thank you, Mayor.
You got it. All right, I just have two quick items. I just want to say, start off with something, just address the elephant in the room. There's a lot of discussion going on around Apex Friendship High School, Apex High School, and potentially Felton Grove. And it is the talk about the cookies and cream milkshakes at Cookout. Everybody's excited about that. Actually, I want to transition to something really big. It's huge. The Apex Friendship High School men's or boys soccer team. I did see them at Cookout this weekend. They are ranked #1 in the nation. Wow. Yes. So we're going to root them on and support them. And they promised me that they will win a state championship. So we'll see what happens. So just a shout out to Apex Friendship soccer team. All right. And I also want to recognize Officer Lamb for being here, Apex PD, for providing security tonight. Thank you. All right, moving on. We go to the adoption of the meeting agenda. Mr. Clerk, are there any recommended changes to the meeting agenda?
Mayor, I have one recommended change with regard to town clerk's report, items number TC1 through TC6. I'd like to have those move. I beg for the indulgence of my fellow council members to do that so that I can get additional questions answered. So I'd move to have those presented at the next available appropriate meeting.
Okay.
Second.
To clarify, the next available meeting will be September 15th, which is a work session.
Okay.
Is that good?
That's fine.
Okay.
I move to adopt the agenda as modified.
All right. Motion, Mayor Pro Tem.
I think Councilmember Reese wanted to second. He was very eager at that earlier, so.
Sure. Yeah. Second.
Okay.
Let's go.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. Consent agenda.
Yes.
Recommended changes.
Yes, sir. Consent item number 6, attachment B has been updated. That's the Veridia SD plan amendment. Attachment B is the PUD text. So.
All right. Hearing that. Any other changes from council? Hearing none, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion Zigerman.
Second.
Second Gray. Beat you to it, Councilmember.
Sorry.
Ingram. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, motion carries. We'll move now to the town manager's report. Mr. Manager.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Good evening, council. We're flying through the agenda, so I don't want to stop that process. I'll have a brief update this evening. First two items, you'll notice a theme. We are attempting to be even more information forward, I'll say. And so we've got two things we want to announce tonight that are in the works. We're going to launch, the goal right now is for October 1st, and it will be, I don't have the exact terminology, but it'll be our P-card statements as staff. We'll have those put on our website. So there'll be a page where you can read through those. It'll have, looks like about 8 different fields, so you can review those. And so that will be going forward where we will put the P-card statements for full viewing on the public website. The next item we are launching this week, and be patient with us. We're building it and adding information to it. It'll be called Apex Answers, and it will be on the town website. We will do outreach through all the other sources, including social media, to direct people to this page. It'll be known as Apex Answers, and it's intended to be a dynamic web page that kind of looks at some of the discussions that are happening in the community and where those intersect with town issues, town hot topics. We will put those on the page. Right now we're building out about 8 items, but expect that to change. It could be something different going forward. But like I said, it's meant to be dynamic. The hot topics now, it gives people a trusted source of information that you can come to, you can read about it. The format is it'll have the topic, it'll have a short answer if you want to be quick, get a quick snippet and go somewhere else. but then there'll be a long answer section underneath that'll have other resources, links to videos, links to other web pages. If there's something already on the town web page that we've developed, it'll take you to that as well. So you can spend a lot of time or you can spend a little bit of time, but you'll know that it's coming from the town, and we're going to try and be responsive to those issues that we hear about swirling in the community. So we're excited to launch that. Again, it won't have all 8 of those right away, but as we build it, we'll have a couple of items this week, and then we'll keep adding to that as the weeks go by.
Allow me to say thank you for doing that. I think that's a real necessary thing. It's a web page. I know we talk through social media. Is there going to be a component where this will be outreach through social media? And a follow up to that is that something that we can use for our social media? Because I think it's important for that unity of voice to really kind of pop out from that source. So anything we can do to help amplify that, I think I think my colleagues would agree would be a great thing to help answer a lot of these questions.
Thank you so much. We we'll probably have our comms team will put together a nice graphic. We'll share it on socials. Everybody will be able to share it. The concept of pointing back to this page is a lot of times on social media, you get information here and then someone else posts something different, and this will take you to one source. You can read it, and you can always go back to socials and comment on it if you want, or make your own post. But we will try and direct people here. They can read the information and then do what they want with that. But we'll definitely make it shareable and link it to the socials as well.
Thanks.
Okay, next item. This is an exciting one. We have our staff in the back row and against the wall here. I'm going to invite the Chief up. I don't want to steal your thunder. So Chief Herman, if you would come on up first, and if you could make our exciting announcement. I will set it up. This is a big deal for Apex, and we can talk a little bit about that after the Chief goes. But
Yep. Good evening, Mayor, Council. I come bearing great news. So 2 weeks ago, I stood here and knocked on wood to hope I didn't jinx myself, and we didn't. So let me go through this process here. The Apex Fire Department is extremely proud to announce that we are awarded international accreditation status through the Center of Public Safety Excellence for the very first time. I appreciate that. While this may be newly awarded, the accreditation model itself is not new to us. For many, many years, we have intentionally incorporated the principles of accreditation into the way we operate. We have worked to make continuous improvement part of our culture. We have strategically woven this model into our organization, and we've made it our own. It has challenged us to examine who we are, how we operate, and most importantly, how can we become better. There are roughly 350 accredited fire departments in the world. Of those, only 130 are also ISO Class 1. North Carolina has 26 accredited fire departments, and in Wake County, there's only 4. We just made the 4th. And I'd like to report that 3 of the 4 are part of CAM, Cary, Apex, and Morrisville. So we finished that loop. I want to take this moment and recognize the 124 men and women, many in the room behind me, of the Apex Fire Department for embracing this philosophy. Accreditation is not something that belongs to me as the fire chief. It does not belong to one division. It does not belong to our accreditation manager. It belongs to our entire organization. It requires a shared commitment and accountability, consistency, evaluation, and improvement. We believe this model provides a foundation necessary to operate an all-hazard emergency services organization in today's increasingly complex environment. A strong foundation allows an organization to move beyond simply managing issues of today and preparing for challenges of tomorrow. We also understand that excellence is not defined by perfection. It is defined by our willingness to identify opportunities, accept constructive feedback, take action, and continue moving forward in all that we do. So what is accreditation? I get this question all the time. It is an A to Z peer-reviewed evaluation of all we do, rooted in strategic planning, risk assessment, program appraisals, and our standards that we follow. It covers from finance to HR, from hiring to promotions, to training, from facilities to fire trucks, external relationships to communications, and of course, our emergency response plans, and much more. It's like a physical fitness program for our entire fire department. It took all of us, and this is only, I get the fortune to stand up here as your fire chief and make this speech. This is a small glimpse of behind me, but it takes a village. It took all of us to include you. All right, so town leadership, both this council and this administration has supported us from the beginning on this, and we are so grateful. But I'm going to call two people out. You got to be careful when you start naming folks, but I feel confident to call these two people out, and they're going, who is it? But if it were not for these two key people within our department, we would not be here tonight. Number one, Assistant Fire Chief of Professional Standards and our accreditation manager, Michael Frickman. And second, our accreditation and data specialist, Samantha Gossard. These two individuals, they took the reins by the horn here and worked tirelessly and got us through this process. So at this time, I would like to not only call them two up, but every fire person in the room to come forward. If y'all don't mind, we've got the awarded plaque here, and I'd love for y'all to come down and we get a couple pictures.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Randy. Demetria.
Oh, we can step forward.
Oh, you got some over here. Some of you guys over here as well. And then let's squeeze in. There we go. And let's the middle move forward just a little bit, and then everybody on the side squeeze in as much as you can. You guys. All right, everybody go in this way. Everybody move one step forward. And now let's have a couple. Let's do a couple like 2 rows. Come in as much as you can.
Yeah.
Go this way.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go. All right, there we go. Oh, y'all got something new. That one's fancy. Does it flip?
Yep.
Still need y'all just a little bit more this way if you can. All right. Smile.
I hope you're finally getting your chance.
Well done.
Doesn't get any better than that, so I'll end my report now.
Oh, that's good. Good. I love that. All right. Fantastic. All right. Great news. We'll move on now to proclamation and special presentations. So what's that?
Turns out to be gym class.
I know, exactly. Mr. Clark?
I'm
Yes.
just going to report on 2 things.
Oh. Yes. Go for it.
Since all of my items were removed. Just to announce to the public that we are going live with Just FOIA, which is our public record software that council graciously funded this past year, or this current fiscal year, November 1st. So we're super excited about that. If you are not currently subscribed to the Council Connector, certainly feel free to do that. There's some advertisements rolling through on the slideshow below. And then we've gotten a couple of requests about the council policies that were discussed earlier this year, and they will be coming back at the October work session. So just wanted to put that on record.
Okay. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Sorry about that. I thought you just had the appointments tonight. So,
That's
all right,
okay.
cool. All right, so we're moving now to proclamation special presentations. We have two proclamations tonight: Emergency Preparedness Month, September 2026, and National Suicide Prevention Week 2026. So y'all would join me up front for the first proclamation.
And it is a pleasure to be able to kick off our proclamation for Emergency Preparedness Month 2026. Whereas emergencies and disaster can occur without warning and may threaten the safety, security, and well-being of our residents, businesses, visitors, community, and
whereas Emergency Preparedness Month provides an opportunity to encourage residents and businesses to prepare for emergencies by making a plan, building an emergency supply kit, staying informed, and knowing how to receive emergency alerts and information. And
whereas preparedness is a shared responsibility requiring individuals, families, businesses, community organizations, and local government to understand hazards, make plans, stay informed, and take actions that reduce risk. And
whereas effective preparation involves strengthening community resilience through comprehensive emergency management, coordinated planning, training, public education, and partnerships with local, county, and regional organizations. And
whereas the town of Apex is grateful to all of its staff involved in the preparation of emergency response to ensure our residents, employees, and facilities remain safe.
Now, therefore, I, Jacques K. Gilbert, Mayor of Apex, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2026 Emergency Preparedness Month in the town of Apex and encourage residents to make or review emergency plans with their families and communities. And I would like to call up Taylor Sanchez, Emergency Management Coordinator, to receive the proclamation, and any other public safety officials here. Thank you.
Smile, 3, 2, 1.
All right, next proclamation is National Suicide Prevention Week, and Councilmember Moo will kick off this proclamation.
whereas suicide remains a public health crisis impacting people across every age, race, ethnicity, and socioeconomic status, with approximately 1,600 individuals aged 10 and older dying annually by suicide in North Carolina. And
whereas nationally, nearly 50,000 people die of suicide each year, making it the 10th leading cause of death. And
Whereas suicide, suicide attempts, and suicidal behaviors create wide-ranging impacts beyond the individuals affected, including friends, family, coworkers, and caregivers, who all bear a tremendous burden in these awful situations. And
Whereas it is critical to understand that it's okay to not be okay, and reaching out for help when you're feeling sadness, anger, frustration, or any other strong emotion is a sign of bravery and strength and not weakness. And
whereas the town of Apex supports policies and initiatives that improve mental health and offer resources to those in need of support, such as the National Suicide and Crisis Lifeline, which can be reached at any time by calling or texting 988.
Now, therefore, I, Jacques K. Gilbert, Mayor of Apex, North Carolina, do hereby proclaim the week of September 6th through 12th, 2026, National Suicide Prevention Week in the town of Apex, and encourage all residents to talk to those close to them about their emotions and reach out to those who may need a little help. And I would like to call up Rebecca Johnson and Rita Larson with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention to receive the proclamation. Thanks for.
Mayor Gilbert, Town Council, I'm grateful and honored to accept this proclamation recognizing National Suicide Prevention Week in the town of Apex, the town where we have raised our family. I do so as a suicide loss survivor and as an advocate with the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. As the fall approaches, our family marks 15 years since the loss of my brother-in-law, Red Hawk. Standing with me is my dear friend, Rita Larson, who lost her husband to suicide in 2016. We met while attending a grief support group for those that have lost loved ones to suicide. Our friendship deepened as we realized we were neighbors and decided to carpool to the beautiful sanctuary where this group has met weekly for over 30 years. One gift in such a group is the sharing not only of our grief, but also of the precious memories of our loved ones, so that we may remember them for more than the manner of their death. To honor Hawk, I became trained as a crisis counselor on our local hotline, Hope Line, and later the 988 Lifeline. Through that experience and the tender and brave sharing of callers, I learned something I will always remember, that many among those callers knew that they were loved, but they did not wish to be a burden. I've carried that knowledge with me as my personal call to action, one that I believe we may embrace as a town. It coincides with the theme for this year's World Suicide Prevention Day, changing the narrative on suicide. Changing the narrative begins with recognition such as this one, but mostly in the small ways we can all embrace in our families, our neighborhoods, and our community. We can each look for what is really behind someone's smile and have the courage to talk about it. Thank you again, Mayor Gilbert and Town Council. I received this proclamation as an advocate, as a loss survivor, representing the families of more than 1,600 of our own in this state that are lost to suicide each year. And to honor my mentor and friend, Dennis Tackett, he taught me that gentle conversation is the way we connect with each other. May this be just one step forward in bringing the mental well-being of our town out of the darkness and into the light. Thank you.
All right, thank you, colleagues, for joining in on the proclamation reading. We'll move now into public forum. I will have, Mr. Clerk, can you read the process again?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
okay.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So the current public participation policy states individual comments are limited to 3 minutes. The public forum public comment period shall not exceed 36 minutes or 12 individual speakers, whichever comes first. If the sign-up list exceeds 12 individual speakers or 36 minutes per the adopted policy, the town clerk will prioritize the list of speakers by those who have not spoken in the last 30 days. After those individuals have spoken, the list will continue in the order an individual signed up until the 12th individual speakers or 36 minutes is reached. Individuals who wish to speak will still be given an opportunity to do so at the conclusion of the business portion of the meeting immediately before closed session. Speakers will see a series of light and the timer in front of them. At the 45-second mark, the light will change colors to yellow. When your time is up, you will hear a buzzer and see the red light flash. This evening, we have 10 speakers.
Mr. Clerk, thank you so much for that. 10 speakers, we'll go ahead and get it started. The first speaker tonight, please come up, Andrew Gluck.
Hi, thank you. First, I'd like to say my grandson is a soccer team member at Friendship High School. He's been on there for 3 years.
Awesome.
And senior there now. A couple of things. One, flock cameras. I'd like to address, like Raleigh PD recently made an arrest with the help of the flock cameras of a murder that just happened. Over a 6-month period, they've made 49 arrests, including stolen vehicles, murder, and other serious felony crimes. Around the country, approximately 10,000 missing people have been discovered using the flock cameras. People want to say invasion of privacy. The flock cameras are in the public domain. They're out in the public. Supreme Court has already ruled no expectation of privacy when you're out in the public. And anybody could take your picture. Anybody could take a picture of a license plate or anything like that. And they've been a very useful tool by police and all, and everybody and anybody in law enforcement. There has been some misuse, and that has been directed. Everybody who's misused it has lost their jobs. So not here, it hasn't been misused here, but other places around the country. Out of like 850,000 police officers, I think there's 40 cases, which is like 0.002%. And that's about it. And everybody knows, and the new updated things have been addressed, and I'm 100% for them. And some things that I heard last time were a lot of misrepresentation of the flock cameras and privacy and everything else. The other thing I'd like to address is the tax increase that was done. We had a proposal offered by our mayor, which actually gave us more police officers and a 0 tax increase. But meanwhile, the council ignored that and went ahead with the tax increase, with less police officers being put on the force. To me, that's a travesty. It just shows somebody wanted some special agenda done or something like that. And I think this council really needs to look at this spending and everything else, that we're having so many people coming in here, the infrastructure's not handling it. Everything is. Meanwhile, we have a tax increase and we're having less services being offered to us now. More money, less services. That does not make sense. We had a proposal that was a good proposal and totally ignored by the council. I think you all need to look at yourselves and see why that was rejected and why the extra police officers were not offered to the residents of this town without a tax increase. Thank you.
Thank you for speaking. Next, Lorraine Meehan.
Mayor and Council, I want to thank you for our town's observation of Patriot Day next month, when we gather as a community to honor those who died on 9/11 and remember the sacrifice made by first responders and private citizens that day who ran into buildings that were burning while others were running out. Each year I speak to you about 9/11. You remember I survived the World Trade Center attack. I witnessed those first responders rush inside that first tower, never hesitating. I witnessed the wounded covered in blood and burned by jet fuel. And I witnessed people jumping out of windows, people who would rather jump to their certain death than be burned alive. 17 days from today, we will observe the 25th anniversary of this attack, when terrorists who hate our values and freedoms decided we did not have a right to live. It's also the 250th anniversary of our nation, when we decided those values would guide us. Yet the tragedy of 9/11, 25 years later, continues. Over 7,000 people have died from 9/11 related illnesses, far outnumbering the people killed that day. I know my husband was one of them. He was a federal law enforcement officer and worked the recovery effort at Ground Zero. He later developed 6 respiratory diseases caused by exposure to the toxins at the site. Those illnesses and over 69 cancers are a result of those fires burning steadily for 93 days, spewing out deadly poisons which settled on the skin, settled in the hair, settled in the mouth, and were breathed in by those heroes who are determined to recover our dead. 25 years later, the flurry of news stories have stopped, as have social media postings promising thoughts and prayers. Survivors and family are left to live with their memories and their grief, still alive in a world that has largely moved on. So I want to thank you all this evening for your observance and your respect, and for reminding us here in Apex that the events of that day still do matter. Thank you.
Thank you. And our love and support to you always. Thank you. Nick B. Mick B. is
Hi. Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Town Council. I'm going to speak on my husband's behalf as he's a little nervous. Thank you to everyone who's here showing up and speaking out. Keep it up. We've lived in Bella Casa since 2017. My husband is a principal cybersecurity engineer in U.S. Defense and Aerospace, securing classified and unclassified systems. Before that, he swore an oath as an active duty infantry Marine. You swore one oath to this community, but you fail yours every day that warrantless flock surveillance cameras run. These are some of the least secure devices my husband has ever seen deployed, never at this scale, and handed to people proven unqualified to protect the data. Over 50 documented security flaws, 22 severe enough to be flagged by the federal government. They run unpatched, end-of-life software, and store images unencrypted. Over 60 were found streaming live to the open internet with no password. 30 days of footage anyone could watch or delete. One researcher has called it Netflix for stalkers. Flock doesn't require multi-factor authentication, and stolen logins are for sale on Russian cybercrime forums and the dark web. None of that is in Apex PD's presentation, though. 33 slides, not one on security. Town records show 60,000 plate reads every day, over 2 million searches in 10 weeks, and the data is shared with over 1,000 other agencies, most out of state. They also share with private companies, including Lowe's Home Improvement and a country club. Apex PD will point to its audits, but audits mean nothing if the data isn't secure and 1,000 outside agencies have access. Agencies you can't audit. Nothing about this is secure. Each of these is an attack surface. You approved them without discussion on the no debate list before any policy was written, then wired them to a database where town records show 57% of searches have no case number. This is how negligence becomes abuse. The contract you signed shows Flock isn't liable for corrupt data, data loss, or acts of hackers. So when someone is misidentified, stalked, hurt, or worse, and the lawsuits follow, Apex will pay the bill. Some current lawsuits are over $1 million. My husband's professional assessment is these systems aren't worth what we lose, and what we lose is our constitutional right to privacy. We're not targets or suspects, we're the people you answer to. To earn back our trust, kill this contract, remove cameras, cut off the data sharing with all agencies, and don't just swap Flock for Axon.
Thanks for speaking tonight. Thank you. Isham Osman.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, council members, Town Manager Vosberg. I'm here today to talk about P-cards, and so I'm very pleased that you mentioned that starting this fall, you'll be publishing the P-card statements for the town. And one thing that I did want to talk about, it's not the P-card use itself that's concerning to me. It's the use in addition to not following the town's own policies and procedures. The town has a very published, clear policy. The Town of Apex purchasing policy and procurement and vendor card policy dictates how those P-cards are supposed to be used. And unfortunately, for the last couple of years, that policy has not been followed diligently enough. I know in my work in corporate America, if I get a corporate card, there's a policy I need to follow. I know other members here on the council know that very well. Internal controls are required to ensure that bad things don't happen. That's not saying bad things happened. I'm not questioning any of the transactions. I'm sure staff and everybody did a great job, and it's all above board. But the reasons that you have policies and procedures is to ensure compliance, controls, and oversight. And this council, this leadership has failed that oversight and review. Through 2025, the last year of full data, 1/3 of all transactions were not approved per the policy by a manager or the department head. Over $1.8 million were auto-approved. So the card was used and nobody ever, not a second person looked at it. That is a failure of governance. Secondly, the town's own policy says any purchase over $2,500 needs a purchase order. That policy is also not being followed. That's a problem. So there's a couple transactions. They're probably totally fine. I just picked them out of the data. We had, last year, we paid to LMV Pavement Marketing over $100,000 on the P-card. 2 transactions, above $50,000 each. Per policy, that wasn't reviewed, so it was paid on the P-card, no other review. And second policy that was violated, the town's own policy says any purchase over $2,500 needs a purchase order. So I'm assuming those transactions are fine, but why have policies and procedures if we're not going to follow them? Second, there are multiple P-card purchases are being split. So same vendor, multiple amounts on the same day. Again, not saying those are inappropriate purchases, but there's a very clear policy that says you are not to do that you need a purchase order. So I urge this council to look at the policy. If the policy needs to be changed, change it. If the rebate is that important to the town, fantastic, get the rebate, but change the policy. Thank you very much.
Thanks for speaking. Reverend Dr. Latanya Agor.
Good evening. I'm here tonight to talk a little bit about community response to our housing crisis here in North Carolina, and particularly here in Wake County. I serve as the pastor of Transformation Fellowship Christian Church. We're located here in Apex, but I also serve as the executive director of the North Carolina Coalition to End Homelessness. I want to begin by asking a simple question. It's not just to the council, but to everybody here. How many of you have either experienced housing instability, know someone who has experienced housing instability, or someone who is currently or has experienced homelessness? I'm going to raise my hand. I ask that question because I want to show that this affects all of us. The ripple effect of housing instability and homelessness costs our communities. It doesn't just cost us in dollars and cents. It costs us in a sense of connectedness. It costs us in the sense of our moral and integrity, our feelings of ethics related to who is important, who is not, who receives their basic human needs, and who we deem to be unworthy of receiving those services. I have here, if the town clerk would like, I have copies of this for the council. So my presentation tonight is going to take a few phases. The first phase I want to talk about are the drivers of housing instability. Like what's causing this? And this is at a very high level, and I recognize that. But one of those drivers is simply the rising cost of living. That shouldn't surprise any of us. I was shocked and appalled the first time I filled up my vehicle and the pump didn't stop until it topped $70. I had told myself at $50 I'm going to stop, but that would not have been enough gas to get me to my location. So I had to keep going. Here in North Carolina, we are all experiencing the same pressures. The rising cost of living is something that affects all of us. And the chart you see on the first graphic I've provided for you is a chart prepared by Gabriel Cortez from CNBC. The source of this information is from the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics. It's based on the Consumer Price Index. Since 2020, our cost of living in the U.S. has gone up 23.9%. I would venture to say most of us have not experienced the same increase in our salaries and wages. This means that the money we receive for the hard work we're doing as a community just isn't enough to keep up with the cost of living. The Wake Housing Data Report shows us that this matters because when housing costs outpace wages, families are forced to make trade-offs. They either forego savings, medical care, stable childcare, or they're at greater risk of eviction or displacement. This means they'll end up living in substandard conditions and homelessness. These different pressures impact renters and homeowners. And the targeted strategies that we need to find together are why I'm here tonight. I don't know about you, but I live in a place that I'm very proud of. I love my home. But if I were to lose my job, and if something were to happen to my husband, in a few months, we would be in this same space. We would be wondering what's going to happen to us. Housing instability can happen to anyone. It's not necessarily because someone is lazy or they don't want to work or they don't have the right skills. One tragedy, one sickness, one illness, the loss of one job, someone's car breaking down because their wages are not enough could put them into a place where they're not sure if they will be able to maintain their housing. What's another driver? The other driver is simply the lack of affordable housing. The median rent in Wake County has increased 34% since 2018. That's a lot. While renter income has not matched that pace, and it stands at just $61,600 or $376. But a household must earn more than $69,000 to afford the median rent without becoming what is called cost burdened. Cost burdened means that you struggle to make your rent or your mortgage payment each month. Maybe you can do it, but it's a burden. You're paying over 30% of your wages in housing. Here on the form you'll see that Apex is sort of right in the middle of those renter households. And what I want you to see is if you look at those bands, the orange band for Apex indicates that almost 50%, it's actually 46%, and this is in 2023, 46% of renters in Apex right here are cost burdened. There's another 17% that are severely cost burdened. This means they're paying much more than that 30%, probably somewhere near 45 or 50%. That's half of your pay or more going simply to your rent. That does not include other things that you need in order to survive. The North Carolina Chamber of Commerce, through the Chamber of Commerce Foundation, found that Wake County will have a projected shortfall of approximately 110,000 homes between 2024 and 2029. So this is something that, again, will affect all of us. Not only do we need to consider, what is the community response to this, but I want us to think about this in terms of what it really is, and that's a humanitarian crisis here in our midst. We normally hear that term when we're thinking about other countries, a humanitarian crisis of famine or of hunger in other places. But right here at home, we are experiencing a humanitarian crisis because housing is a basic need. It's something we all need. We need it. We need it to feel safe. We need it to develop in a way that is secure. We need it in order to establish a place where we can launch and take care of ourselves and our families. It's a basic need. And I don't know anyone who wakes up one morning and says, you know what I think I want to do for the rest of my life? I want to live under an overpass. I've not met one person who's ever said that when I grow up, what I want to be is unhoused. So we're at a crisis level. I provided for you some information from a report called the Annual Homelessness Report to Congress. The source of this is 2024 because Congress has not published the numbers for 2025. So we have the numbers from 2024. This is on the back of that first page. And these numbers are taken from something called the PIT count. I don't know if any of you have heard of the PIT count. Any of you heard of the PIT count, the point in time count? I see a few heads nodding. Every year, HUD requires that communities do something called perform a PIT, P-I-T, point in time count. This happens in January. Every January, volunteers and folks who work in nonprofits, people who are running various housing communities, they go out and try to count the number of people who are living unhoused in our community. This happens all over the United States. And it happens on one night every year. Every community chooses its own night. And Wake County last year chose, I think it was, I think January 22nd. That's my first 3 minutes, or is that 9?
That was 9.
That was 9? 9 minutes. You have the report. Please do read it. And I'm willing to follow up in any way to share more information with you. Okay?
Thank you for speaking tonight.
Sure.
That's all you do. Sarah Gray.
Hello, good evening, and thanks for the opportunity to speak with you all. I'm here tonight because I have been increasingly disturbed by the use of flock cameras in the town of Apex. I think my neighbor described all of the concerns really well, and I share all of those. I've been really alarmed by the increasing use of automatic license plate readers in Apex and throughout the country, and I would like to ask that Apex end the contract with Flocks. I would like these cameras removed, and I think that there should be a full ban on ALPR going forward, and that there should not be other companies or corporations that can use similar technology to be employed in the town of Apex. I also think that the current surveillance data that is on hand should be fully destroyed and for this destruction to be irreversible so that those records are gone. And I think I probably don't need the full 3 minutes here because I think my neighbor did go into great detail on all of the risks and concerns with flock cameras. But I'll add from a personal level that I just think it's really creepy. And I think that, to be honest, it makes me less likely and less interested in driving my car downtown. And it makes me think a lot about the state of the world, the surveillance that we're under. And also, I guess, living in a small town, and I didn't appreciate that this sort of surveillance would take place, and that it would be pushed through by the town council in a way that seemed kind of shady and underhanded, to be honest. And as I've looked at the communication by the town about flock cameras and the employment of them, I've just been really disappointed in kind of the lack of clarity and the lack of communication on that, and what I feel is skirting around those issues to just continue to have these cameras in place. So that is a little more touchy-feely and emotional than I intended to be when I came up here, but thanks so much for your attention, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Thomas Scott. Thomas Scott.
Mayor, City Council, I think I've been here before. I think you've been here before. In regards to Friendship and the parking issue, which the town has sued Mrs. Scott under Article 11, I've also brought to the City Council's attention before under Article 11 in regards to fines, which of course the town is fining her and also seeking a permanent injunction. Well, I had problems with my house on a remodel, and the town has full authority to fine and sue in court, and they have refused. So do you either follow what you have in the UDO uniformly, or you don't? It's one way or the other. I would like to notify you of North Carolina State Statutes 14230, willfully failing to discharge duties. If any clerk of any court of record, sheriff, magistrate, school board member, county commissioner, county surveyor, coroner, treasurer, or official of any state institution, or of any county, city, or town shall willfully omit, neglect, or refuse to discharge any of the duties of his office, for default whereof it is elsewhere provided that he shall be indicted, he shall be guilty of a Class 1 misdemeanor. If it shall be proved that such officer, after his qualification, willfully and corruptly omitted, neglected, or refused to discharge any of his duties of his office, or willfully and corruptly violated his oath of office according to the true intent and meaning thereof, such officer shall be guilty of misdemeanor in office, and shall be punished by removal thereof under the sentence of the court as a part of the punishment of the offense. I have sent this to you, and of course, I've had quite a lot of email correspondence with the City Council, Mayor, Sandy Burke, City Manager Vosberg, and it's like I'm talking around Mount Rushmore. I'm getting no response. Actually, absolutely no response. So it's very disconcerting what's transpired here. And the only time that the town will step up is when legal actions are taken. That's about all I have to say. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking. Vivek Mav. Vivek Mav, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Vivek, and
I'm Azim.
We're residents of Cary, but we frequently travel to Apex and feel very passionate about Apex again because of its proximity to our homes. We've been working on a project regarding smart growth for a couple of months, and we wanted to talk about some specifics about it today. So Apex has been rapidly growing from around 55,000 people to nearly 80,000 residents since the policy of Advanced Apex was adopted. But we believe in managing that growth appropriately. So we want to talk about using the NC55 corridor to advance development in other areas of Apex. We want to talk about using the South Salem concept. So increasing residential density, taking an average of around 11 dwelling units per acre across the district, pulling up buildings closer to the sidewalk, adding in, more parking, fewer parking spaces, lowering the parking minimums in many buildings and lots, and also adding in opportunities for transits, such as bus plans, and expand those across the city. An overlaying zoning district for transit-oriented centers is already being planned, again, for the NC55 corridor, but they're not specific to one area, so we hope to extend that to the NC55 area by applying that mixed-use overlay district.
And from our understanding, part of the NC55 widening project seemed to be only partially completed. And given that the design is still in a relatively early phase, we ask that the town formally request bus or HOV accommodations, as well as similar Main Street cross sections that are already in the small area plan. But we also want you guys to consider these kinds of transit-oriented infrastructure for not just the NC55 area, but for the wider Apex town, so we can have more transportation options for the city residents. We're glad to follow up in writing on any of this if that's more useful than covering it all tonight. Thank you for your time and for listening to our concerns.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate you speaking. Vincent DeCaro.
Okay, my name is Vincent DeCaro. I'm a 32-year in December resident of Apex. I live in Old Buckingham, and I'm here to address a couple of things. First of all, I'm happy to have been able to speak with Randy over the weekend to find out the Apex Answers is coming to light, because I'd like to see a publication from the town that represents what the town council does. I recently subscribed to various avenues of communication, and I was recently unhappy to read the way what happened in the town council was portrayed. I got it, you're all politicians, I understand all that, but I love living in Apex. I don't just like living here. I've had many interactions with the town over the course of years, and I would like to see the rest of the population of Apex move from liking living here to loving living here, and that starts with you. The public has to see you out and about. The public has to see you cooperating with each other. They have to read in your minutes that you're cooperating with others and trying to find solutions that is for the whole town. I suggest you have a kumbaya somewhere. Get together, just all of you, and try to get to the root of why you disagree and how you can root things out. I also suggest that you gather the religious institutions inside the town of Apex and understand what who those people are and what their needs are. This demographic of this town has changed a lot in 32 years. And you only have to walk around to see the difference. And that's where that sense of community begins. Another subject. If you can't grind to a halt the issue of grass clippings, you can't run a low-cost housing institution. I suggest you look for the best solution possible for that piece of property and find the right institution that's not the town to do that. I would like to echo with respects to audits, and I'm sure the town is stepping up after the state auditor found out about the Ray-Ban situation. Just quickly on the town's firehouse downtown. My son was born in an ambulance in my driveway right over in Brookfield. I've had emergency personnel show up to my house for various things. If you have never experienced a town of Apex emergency personnel helping you, then you should ask someone who has. The value of that open door downtown and a soldier of our emergency services sitting there just talking to people has enormous value. If you can't figure out how to design that building, I'll help you. Thank you very much.
Thanks for speaking. Derek O'Neill, you have 4 people here with you?
No.
No? Okay. See 9 minutes, so it's 3.
No, it should only be 3.
Okay.
Just an individual.
Okay, go for it.
Thank you. So my name is Derek O'Neill. We've spoken before about the data center and the flock. Earlier this week, DFlock Apex was given access to APD's flock audit. And I'm sad to say that things were worse than I expected. Some of these things I can come up with reasonable explanations for, some of them I can't. So we'll start with the obvious one. We were told that we would not share data with any federal agencies. We knew that there was a snafu and 2 of them were able to gain access to it. That resulted in, according to the data we have, 9,683 searches against Apex cameras from federal institutions. 9,683. It's a huge number. To be fair, they add up very quick. When Chief was talking to you all and saying that we didn't share on June 9th with any federal agencies, there were 166 federal queries run against our system that day. So they add up quick. And in fact, in the 29 days leading up to that meeting, there were, let me check here, 2,604 before he told you there were none. The transparency portal that he pointed you to be able to track and see what our sharing organization sort of network was with other institutions, he said there were about 1,000 every single month during the period we have data to. There was a minimum of 3,000 institutions with access to our data. In another issue with the transparency portal, in the 30 days leading up to April 17th, the transparency portal showed a total of 144 queries. The audit shows 868. So there are discrepancies there that we have to account for. 3,300 requests that were run against our system by federal agencies were on the subject of immigration, which is a hot point for the people of this community. And that's one of the main reasons that we had such a vocal outcry against federal agencies getting access to our data. And last time I was up here, I warned you that it's not just enough to stop federal agencies from having direct access to our flock systems when state agencies and police departments can just launder requests for federal agencies so it'll look like it's coming from them, but it's actually at the behest of the federal government. Well, it turns out we did that too. There are at least 4 queries in the Apex Police Department's audit logs that are given either federal agencies as what the data is for, or they mention federal warrants. So there are some instances where it looks like Apex itself is issuing queries for federal purposes. So we need to look into those. Not once did I say flock. This is a data collection problem. It has nothing to do with flock.
Thanks for speaking, Mr. Neal.
Thank you.
All right, that was the last speaker. Thank you to everyone who came out to speak tonight. We'll move now to public hearing. Start with public hearing 1, annexation number 821, Ashburn Development, 0 Mount Zion Church Road. Ms. Kim. Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Okay,
I think we're good.
good evening. So our first annexation is number 821. This is for the Ashburn development on Mount Zion Church Road. It is located in kind of the Midwestern area of our jurisdiction. This is a previously approved subdivision, and so they are needing annexation in order to get their construction plans approved to get town services. Staff recommends approval.
All right, questions, Ms. Kim? Hearing none, I'll go ahead and open up public hearing for comment. No one signed up to speak. It's back to council for a motion. Approve. Second. Happy Zigerman. Discussion. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Hearing 2.
Our next annexation is 832 Town of Apex on Perry Road and Hughes Street. This is 7.995 acres. You see the location here on the map. This property is the one that we will be looking at for affordable housing, potentially mixed use. And so it does need to be annexed in order to get town services, water and sewer. Staff recommends approval.
All right, thank you. Questions? Hearing none, open up the public hearing for comment. No one signed up to speak. Public hearing is closed.
Motion approved.
Motion Mahaffey.
Second.
Second Ziggerman. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Next, public hearing 3.
Yeah, our next annexation is 834. It's at 2809 Evans Road. It's out in the kind of the Midwestern area again. This is a property that's known as the Morrison property. There was a sewer line that they granted an easement, so now they have access to town sewer if they annex. So they are requesting that. We are recommending approval.
All right, questions? Hearing none, open up public hearing for comment. No one signed up to speak. The public hearing is closed. Anybody else want to get on the action?
Approve.
Oh, Sue?
Councilmember Moo.
All right.
Motion to approve.
Motion, Councilmember Moo.
Second. Photo finish.
Second, Reese.
I do want to make one comment
yeah,
before
sure.
we move forward. Just that
Yeah.
these last 3 annexations are, I like to say, are textbook donut holes. We have these little exclaves all around town, and the funniest thing is many people are like, "Why are we annexing something that's already within the town?" It's like, well, it may not really be in the town. So a lot of these things that seem relatively routine for water and sewer, it's a requirement, at least legally, that those sort of actions take place here. It gives us the opportunity to do things for the town. So just wanted to point that out because somebody asked that question last time, like, why do you do these? They're already in the town. I'm like, nah, they're not. But we're happy to have them now.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Gray. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. Vote hearing 4.
Our next annexation is on Pine Plaza Drive. It is a project that's known as Glen Square. It's where the Indifresh supermarket is proposed, and they do have need annexation in order to get construction plan approval, to get town services, and staff does recommend approval. I'll show you. There's a donut hole right there for you.
All right. Questions? Hearing none. Public hearing is open for comment. Public hearing is closed. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion
Second.
Zickerman, second.
Woo,
Councilmember.
look at that.
All right,
On the
there we
ball.
go. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, next one.
All right, well, this one we're going to have Marisa Smith present because it's actually associated with a rezoning case.
Thank you.
All right, good evening, Mayor and council members. This is annexation number 830 associated with the rezone case 26CZ05. The project site is located in the western area of the town, south of US 64 and about a half mile from the border of Chatham County. The address of the annexation is 3305 Olive Chapel Road, and it is a 3.62 acre property. The existing zoning district is Wake County Residential 880W, and it is outside the corporate limits, and the applicant is requesting town services. Now moving on to the rezone. The property is located along the south side of Olive Chapel Road, and the 3.62 acre site includes an existing single-family house and driveway, shown here off of Olive Chapel, and both the house and the access will be retained. As previously mentioned, the current zoning is Wake County Residential 80W, and the uses surrounding the property include the Willow Hills PUD to the west, the recently approved Lawrence Pro PUD to the east, and to the east, and then to the south is Army Corps open space. The proposed zoning district is rural residential conditional zoning, and the 2045 land use classification is rural density residential. And if rezoned as proposed, it would change to rural transition residential. Neighborhood meetings were held on April 29th and July 15th of this year. And due to the relatively small area, the project is exempt or was exempt from meeting with the Environmental Advisory Board. During the process, the applicant agreed to additional conditions, and these conditions include adding a 70-foot wide minimum undisturbed buffer along the U.S. Army Corps Engineer property to the southeast, completing a sidewalk gap between the two abutting developments along Olive Chapel Road with a 5-foot wide sidewalk, and record a 30-foot wide Town of Apex public sewer easement along the southern boundary line in order to provide future public sewer connection with the undeveloped parcels east of Lawrence ProPud. The proposed rezoning is reasonable and in the public interest in that the rezone will allow for an existing single-family home to remain. It will create a maximum of 3 lots, which are generally consistent with the parcels to the west. The proposed rezoning will provide roadway frontage widening with a sidewalk along Olive Chapel Road. And furthermore, the proposed rezoning includes stricter architectural conditions than what the UDO currently requires. The Planning Board held a public hearing on August 11th and voted unanimously to approve the rezone, and planning staff recommends approval of 26 CZ05 as proposed by the applicant. And this concludes staff's presentation.
All right, thank you so much. Any questions?
I do have a question. Can you quickly go over the differences in the zoning per the 2045 land use map and the proposed zoning, especially when it comes to the housing density allowed given the zoning?
May I defer?
Yeah, I'll assist with that. So the current 2045 land use map designation is rural density residential, which supports a density of 1 unit per 5 acres. If the rezoning is approved as proposed, the land use map designation would change to rural transition residential, which is 1 unit per 1 acre. This density is consistent with that of the Willow Hills subdivision immediately to the west.
And so the property to the east is still meant to be the rural residential, the 1 unit per 5 acre?
If Marisa will show that map again, as part of the Lawrence PUD rezoning, that southern parcel was also changed to rural transition residential. And so while the Willow Hills subdivision shows as the rural density land use classification, that subdivision was approved about the same time as Advanced Apex was adopted and before we added the rural transition land use classification. So staff could initiate a map that says it needs to be rural transition to match the development pattern as it was built. So the proposed zoning density is consistent with that to the east and the west.
Thank you.
All right, any other questions?
What's going to happen with the substreet?
Yes, that will continue. Well, it will end in the subdivision approximately right here, and it will connect the lot which is proposed to the south and then one here. Lot 1 will continue to take access off of Olive Chapel. Yeah. There is a barrier right here. There's a stream that would prevent them from going any further into that.
Gotcha.
And they will provide sidewalk.
That is correct. Yeah, that's correct. Okay. They're going to connect it to close the gap between the sidewalk and the one that is proposed over here. Yeah, that's correct.
Good to me.
I mean, you can't be thrilled about the access. I mean, it's existing access, right? We can't have them remove it, but you can't be thrilled about it being so close to the neighborhood access right there, right?
That's correct. It was discussed, but if the applicant you're talking about taking the stub street to go to all 3 lots as opposed.
So to remove the access on Olive Chapel, so the 2 aren't so close to each other.
That's correct. It was discussed due to the large constraints along the within the lot. The applicant would not be able to achieve 3 lots if they were to do that. It would narrow it down to 2, which then would not it would be cost prohibitive to do all the improvements as proposed.
What is that access road that seems to be running right alongside of the western boundary?
It goes to a pump station down here.
So that's ours?
That's correct.
Could we at least, was it discussed at least moving the driveway more to the east so it's farther away from the neighborhood access there?
You know, I don't know if that moving it was discussed, and unfortunately our transportation expert is not here available, but he did sign off on that.
I think the applicant has a comment on that, yeah.
Oh, thank you.
You know, sorry.
Oh,
I can go ahead and sure. I'll start a little more formally there.
Make it smaller.
Try to zoom out a little bit here. All right. Good evening, everyone. My name is Patrick Kiernan, Jones and Knausen Engineering, 221 North Salem Street. Thank you, Marisa, for your presentation. I put this exhibit together just as sort of the colored, presentation to show really how restricted the site is once you factor in all the perimeter buffers, perennial stream buffer to our east, right-of-way dedication, streetscape buffer, etc. To dive right into your question, we talked about whether or not to abandon the driveway altogether. Since it already exists, my client's preference was certainly to keep it. You can kind of see we get pinched right here because there's actually a 20-foot private access easement along our western border as well, that we are going to have to put our perimeter landscape buffer on the outside of. So with all that said, it just gets really tight. So squeezing another driveway in beside that was just getting awkward, and the garage is in the front. So it kind of became just a functional issue. To move it, I could certainly see being the case. I mean, I don't have any issue moving it. It was not discussed, so I don't have necessarily a zoning condition to offer.
Yeah, I'm not asking for one. I'm just
No, I mean,
brainstorming here because I mean you see
it is close.
The access point.
And
the
I don't
traffic guy, you know how it is, right?
Right. Yeah, and I don't think NCDOT would have any qualms with moving it. You're not doing anything but improving sight distance and that sort of thing. So I think that's a reasonable thing to offer. Not that it will be a condition, I guess, of record, but we can certainly talk about it once we get into master
Happy if you
subdivision.
just consider it just for
Sure.
safety of your client and the neighborhood.
Yeah.
A little more distance between them if someone's leaving the neighborhood later.
Sure.
Have we considered, or have you spoken to the town about potentially using that access easement as another out to connect to the road there?
For these new lots, being able to come basically use that.
Specifically for the northernmost lot.
It's not a bad idea. It's a private access easement. I know we looked into the wording and it was in perpetuity. The beneficiary was the federal game land to the south.
So
I
it's
see
not-
that more as a legal just kind of difficulty.
I thought it was our easement, not federal.
Yeah, y'all's drive is just kind of parallel to that, just to the west of our property line. It's within the Willow Hills HOA. It's about as infill as it gets here.
All right. Any other questions for applicant? Thank you.
Thank you all.
All right. All right, we'll go ahead and open up public hearing for comment. No one is signed up to speak. Public hearing
For annexation and rezone.
Annexation and rezone are both. All right, so it's closed. Back to council for discussion, possible motion.
Yeah, I'll just say, I mean, concerned about the access, but I'm satisfied that there's really no good options here that we could ask the applicant to do. The site is half of it is a buffer, so in practice, what we have is a guy has a house and he's building two houses in his backyard, which is something that they can do. And yeah, I see the point that even if we could try to get connected to that stub road, like the house would be backwards, right? So you'd have to go around. It'd be kind of weird, pretty big burden on the homeowner. So yeah, I'm in favor of the rezoning.
Actually, I do have another question for the applicant. Is the intent to keep the existing structure, or will that be rebuilt?
Yeah, his intent is to keep that asset on the property.
Thank you.
Sure.
All right, still in discussion. Any more comments?
Yeah, I mean, you could imagine a condition, not asking for one, but like if the structure were ever demolished, then you could produce a shared driveway with the house oriented properly, and in 30 years you might do it, but I don't want to polish it too much.
I guess one clarification. I think we did have a condition is sort of to that effect. It doesn't address that whatsoever, but I think there was a condition about if it is reconstructed that it would basically be grandfathered in, because right now it would not even be in compliance with where the current stream buffer is. Right now there's no building setback issue because it's just one
big 3.6 acre lot, but we're defining a smaller lot, so the house is actually not going to be compliant with that building setback based on the current buffer rules. So we would ask that if, demolition were ever done, that it could be grandfathered into the same. So I won't say that it could never be torn down and rebuilt, but that's not his intent right now.
All right, thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion approved.
Motion Mahaffey.
Second.
Second Gray.
Approving the
Annexation and the rezoning.
Yeah.
Seconding the annexation and the rezoning.
All right, we got a motion second, annexation and rezone. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. All right, moving to public hearing 7, that's being rescheduled, no action required.
That's correct.
Okay. All right, public hearing 8, UDO amendments. Mr. Bruce Venable, good to see you, sir.
Good to see you, Mr. Mayor. This is just a couple quick UDO amendments to bring to your attention today. Okay. So the first one is is the sections 2.4 to address the accessory apartment dwellings. Essentially what we're doing is we're changing the terminology from accessory apartment in the UDO to be consistent with new state law that was just passed that refers to all of them as accessory dwelling units. There'll be future amendments regarding standards for accessory dwelling units coming before you in the next couple of months, but today we're just going forward and making sure that we're amending this specific item to make sure the terminology is correct, but we'll have more UDO amendments to bring for you in the future. So these are just real quick. You can see that anywhere where accessory apartment was used, it is now accessory dwelling unit. It has been removed from the use table and redirected towards the accessory use section specifically. So it's no longer here in the use table, but it's still allowed and still permitted in all the zoning districts that it was permitted before. And then since it's no longer in the use table, it has been removed out of the use classifications and put back into the accessory use section as well. You'll see this change here to make this consistent with what was in the original principal use section as well. So now that section is in 4.5.6. Again, just changing the terminology from accessory apartment to accessory dwelling in these sections. Same here. And then lastly, this table here speaks to it. There were no conditions here for accessory apartments, but since it's being handled elsewhere now as well, this section has been removed from this table in 5.2.2.B4. And here as well, just the terminology has been changed from accessory apartment to accessory dwelling units. Same as here. And that's the first amendment before you. Again, we're just changing the terminology. Any questions on that?
So is it fair to characterize that as simply changing the terminology but not having a significant impact on the right to build or not build?
Correct. Yes, sir. There will be future amendments to kind of speak to what the state has decided are going to be the limits on size and location and things like that, but we'll be addressing that in the future with you.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. So this one is just to address the distance that sandwich boards can be away from unrestricted pedestrian movement. The original standards were 3 feet. There's a request to change that to 4 feet now to be in alignment with the public right-of-way accessibility guidelines, or PROAG, which you may be familiar with. So this is just a quick amendment that changes the sign section to add that extra foot of sidewalk width for unrestricted movement. And that's a real straightforward amendment there. Any questions on that one?
Just wanted to say for the record that I'm just hoping that we'll be informally enforcing that downtown sometime in January or February.
January, February.
And not until then.
All right. And so the third amendment is for the review of procedures, application, submission, determination of compliance. So this one is a little interesting. So this just speaks to how soon you have to be able to submit or resubmit an application and how long that's good for. The practice has been that you have within 1 year to resubmit or submit your application once it's been submitted. The language in here read a little different and provided some confusion. So originally it said that resubmission would have to occur no less than 1 year, which is obviously not what we want for productive development in our town. So we've reworded it to make sure that it's clear that it's aligned with what our practice has been since you guys have been serving as council members, and that they have within 1 year to resubmit their application before it is removed from the process. So that's the last amendment before you. Again, told you it's just a couple. We'll have some more fun ones coming before you in the months ahead, but for right now, that's it.
All right, thank you. Any questions? All right, we'll open up public hearing for comment. No one signed up to speak. Public hearing is closed.
Motion to
Motion to
approve.
Motion to
defer.
approve. All right, Councilmember Moo,
go
you have a
ahead.
motion?
Yeah, to approve. Yeah.
Okay, motion to approve.
Second.
All right, second Zigerman. Discussion. All right, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries unanimously. And appears to be, that was the last item. All right, so thank you all. We'll move into, their motion to go into closed session for the 3 closed session items.
So moved.
Presented. Zigerman,
Second.
second Gray. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. We're moving into closed session.
It's super
I don't think
easy.
there's a,
Okay.
there's nothing
Yes, sir.
Turn this here.